Okay, Joey, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I just like to thank you again for speaking with me today.
Thank you. Thank you as well.
All right, let's jump right in. Let's talk about where it all began. When did you first become interested in music and playing an instrument?
Wow, I started playing at a very early age, probably at the age of 4, 5 years old. And the way it began, I came home from school one day. I was in the kindergarten, and my dad was home. He came home early from work that particular day, and he used to play guitar himself for a quartet group.
Hmm.
So they had rehearsal that night. So he was practicing on the songs that he was going to play in rehearsal that night. And I told him, I was like, Dad, you playing it wrong. So he said, "Can you play it?" And I said, "Yes." He passed me the guitar, and I just picked up the guitar and began to play. And I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. Okay, so you started on guitar. So, um, do you currently now play any other instruments other than guitar? Is that your main instrument?
Guitar is my main instrument. Guitar, acoustic guitar. I mess around with the bass guitar a little bit, and I
Hmm.
play the drums a little bit.
Okay. So, at that particular time when you started playing, would you say that your dad has been your main influence, or talk a little bit about from that point when you picked up the guitar?
From that point, yes,
Hmm.
my dad was my main influence. Um, I just watched him a lot when he
Hmm.
played with his group,
Hmm.
and then he also had other guitars that was in his group as well.
Hmm.
And then I became just like glued to those guys.
Hmm.
So my dad would take me to the different quartet programs, and he would walk me in.
Hmm.
I would want to sit on the front row, and be like 7, 8 quartet groups there.
Hmm.
I would sit there on the front row and just like stare at those guys through the entire concert.
Wow. So,
Yes,
so at that time, who would you say? So it sounds like quartet was your main foundation. Were you
yes.
listening to any other type of music at the time other than quartet?
At that time, no,
Hmm.
nothing but quartet.
Hmm.
That was pretty much it. There was other music that I
Hmm.
listened to, the old music that I grew up on, the old secular music,
Hmm.
Barcades and all those guys. But
Hmm.
quartet, that was it for me.
Okay. So, did you mostly play by ear? Did you ever get a chance back then during that time to take lessons or?
Back then, it was
Mhm.
mainly by ear. Just try to play everything that I heard.
Wow. S-
Yes.
So back then, when you started out playing, from that point, when would you say you made the transition to start, playing in the industry? When did that transition happen?
It was much later on. I did a lot of quartet stuff, and then I started to began to branch off. I started playing with the guy. He was actually a blues singer,
Mm-hmm.
R&B, well, soul singer. His name was Otis Clay.
Mm-hmm.
I began to play with him straight out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I left from Otis Clay. That's where I learned a lot from in terms of playing, pockets and patterns and,
Mm-hmm.
and the other. Then I started playing, I actually started with Inez Andrews. I
Okay.
was her drummer. I used to play drums,
Mm-hmm.
and I would sing in the background for Inez Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
So it began then. I started getting calls trying to do other sessions, Bishop
Mm-hmm.
Morton and Marvin Sapp. So it was like, oh wow, you know what? I want to switch over.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start doing this music.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got a call one day to come out and start. I began to play with Fred Hammond, and that's where the other side began.
Okay. So, can you talk a little bit about playing as a musician in church versus playing with a group or as a touring or session musician? Because I know a lot of musicians are trying to make that transition. So,
Mhm.
can you talk a little bit about the difference between it? Are those environments the same or are they different?
Oh, they're definitely different. Even myself, when I play at church, I play in a church here in Chicago, where it's
Hmm.
actually in Matson, Illinois.
Hmm.
Um, that's like my practice ground. I play everything that I know, everything I think I know.
Hmm.
I reach for, whatever, even though I'm playing with other musicians.
Hmm.
But when you're on stage with other guys, you got to be aware of what everybody else on stage is, because music itself is like a conversation,
Hmm.
and it's like a thing is, if there are 4 to 5 people in a room, if all of us begin to talk at the same time, it makes absolutely no sense. So music is like that. Guitar player plays his part, bass player plays his part, drummer plays his part, and the keyboardist plays his part. So it's a whole entire different mentality playing doing a tour, being a tour musician and doing sessions opposed to playing in church. In church, it's just, it's whatever. You just, do your thing. Just have fun.
Okay,
Yeah.
so from that, what advice would you give to musicians as far as how they approach the instrument? As far as practice, I know a lot of people develop a practice regimen, or can you give me some pointers or something that you could share with the audience,
hmm
for developing musicians?
Well, first of all, I would say it's a thing now. Everybody is so into chops,
Mm-hmm.
even in terms of singing. It's sad to say it's almost like a thing. When you sing, if you can't do a lot of runs,
Mm-hmm.
people look at you like, oh wow, he can't sing. He's not that great.
Mm-hmm.
So musicians, if you get on your keys or guitar, whatever, if you don't have a whole bunch of chops, you're looked over now.
Mm-hmm.
So me myself, I came from old school, so I came up with the thing. You got to learn how to play patterns.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the first verse, you play the same thing on the second verse that you played in the first verse.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got your bridge, then the chorus, whatever. You find patterns to play opposed to playing all over. So, like I said, licks are great.
Mm-hmm.
Your chops, definitely know those, but also learn how to be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
That's a must. That'll take you much further than your chops and licks will.
Okay, so
Yeah.
discipline is a key thing.
Oh yes, most definitely.
Okay. All right. So, can you talk about some of the groups that you've played for? I know it could be, I know it's probably a lot of groups that you've played for, but can you
Mhm.
just share with us some of the artists and groups that you've had a chance to play for?
Okay. Like I earlier stated, it started out with Fred Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it all began for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently touring right now, doing dates with Donnie McClurkin.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked and recorded with Marvin Sapp,
Mm-hmm.
Martha Menezzi, Al Jarreau, Mary J. Blige, George Duke, Gerald Albright. Wow, I mean, it's Avant,
Mm-hmm.
Kim. I just recently did something about a couple months ago with I sat in with Ray Chu's band.
Mm-hmm.
They did a tribute to Berry Gordy. And they had Kim and a whole lot of other secular singers on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been blessed. I've done quite a bit in my time.
Okay. So, the next thing that I want to talk about is I know a lot of musicians may want to know what's in your rig. Can you
hmm
talk about your gear, what you travel with between the different performances? Talk about your setup.
Okay. On my floor, I have the TC electronic piece, the Nova system, and I have the Mesa Boogie V Twin. That's my preamp.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I get my overdrive and distortion from. Then I have this new Mesa Boogie distortion, overdrive and distortion piece that I'm using. What else do I have? Can't think of the wah. I have a wah pedal
Mm-hmm.
and the I can't think of the and a volume pedal. That's pretty much it. It's pretty basic, and um, on majority of the dates that I play,
Mm-hmm.
I use the Mesa Boogie
Mm-hmm.
dual rectifier amp.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm stuck with the jazz chords, but I'm always looking for the dual rectifier. That's
Um,
in my riders.
what about your strings?
Strings, I'm endorsed with DR Strings. I've been using those strings for years.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, on that note, can you give some more advice for some people who want to go to the next level, as
hmm
far as they feel that they have served in their local church,
hmm
they're praying and waiting on their turn to
hmm
maybe one day step out.
hmm
Can you speak into the lives of up and coming musicians and just give some words of encouragement or advice to them,
hmm
while they're working?
Yes, I would say just first of all, stay rooted in Christ. Um, Stay focused. Study your craft. Get as much music in you as you possibly can. Listen to all genres of music. Um, just 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 keep your mind open.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep your mind open and just wait for that opportunity. Don't be so eager. Different places I go, musicians always run up to me and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey Joey, what can I do, man? How can I get on? It's not about that.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait on God. Wait until that time. Just be practiced. study your craft and, study, practice,
Hmm.
stay into it. So when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it.
Okay.
You are ready. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, is there anything else you'd like to add that you may want to share with your audience?
Of course. I have a single. My single is coming out. Actually, it started going to radio. The
Hmm.
MP3 started going to radio last week. It's being serviced by Neely Dickerson.
Okay.
And the hard copy should be going out soon. And the single will be on with iTunes and all the rest of the internet stores in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Well.
And the song is entitled I Believe. I'm singing,
Hmm.
and I'm featuring Lowell Pie as well.
Okay, that's great. All right. Well, can you share with us, talk about your social media pages? So some people may want to hit you up on Facebook or Twitter.
Oh, yes. You know what? I'm not really good with that in terms of knowing the names. Only
Hmm.
thing I can say is go to my page, Joey Woolfalk for
Okay.
Twitter, Joey Woolfalk for Facebook.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. And I'm on that. What's the other one? LinkedIn or something like that?
Hmm.
Yes, I'm on all three of those.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Joey, it has been indeed a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much.
And I wish you many blessings on your single and all of your projects and future endeavors.
Thank you so much. And also, one more thing.
Okay.
Ask you guys to pray for me. I'm leaving on Tuesday. I'm going to South Africa.
Okay.
I'm working with Donnie McClurkin and Cece Winans.
Okay.